over 4,000 videos on YouTube, another 2,000 blog posts, another 33 Q&A sessions. Y'all still got questions? All right, let's do another Q&A.
DreAllDay.com.
Hey, Witness on the beat.
Friday, August 29, 2014. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Dre Baldwin. Some of y'all know me as Dre All Day. Website is DreAllDay.com. For those of you who don't know, we are here for Q&A number 34. For those of you who don't know how the Q&A works, I reply to questions from the previous week's Q&A every Friday afternoon. It's 11:20 a.m. as I record this Eastern Standard Time on August 29th. I record this on Friday afternoon. The video comes out on Saturday, so you'll be watching this on August 30th. Got a couple house cleaning issues not issues, but items that I want to get to before we get into this. First of all, for those of you who did not catch last week's Q&A, first of all, what's wrong with you? But second of all, got some news for y'all who might have missed it. All of our training programs, signature workout programs, and 30-day programs based on skills of your favorite NBA players, skill programs. In total, we have almost 100 programs. There are exactly 98 programs available right now from Hoop Handbook. You can get those programs for a limited time. How long is that time? I don't know yet. We have not yet decided. We're doing an experiment right now to see how the consumers respond, which is all of you, on Amazon or iTunes. At the links above, you can get any one of those programs for $2.99. That's $2.99 on Amazon or iTunes. If you do not have a Kindle, if you don't have a Kindle, you can still get a Amazon product and get the iOS app on your iPhone or your iPad. I don't own a Kindle, but I still read books from Amazon Kindle digitally, so you don't need to buy a Kindle to look at that stuff. But if you rather the iTunes, you can get it iBooks, iOS, or whichever side of the screen I got each one on. I might be pointing to the wrong side. And if you're looking at this on mobile and there's no annotations up there, the links are right there at the top of the video description. But it's very simple. DreAllDay.com/iTunes, DreAllDay.com/Amazon. Either one, you can get any signature workout program, any Hoop Handbook skill program, and also my books, Buy a Game, Mental Handbook, and Mirror Motivation. Everything's priced $2.99 right now. That includes the off-court training programs, Position of Power, Ultimate Athlete. And there are two other programs that I actually want to tell you about that I forgot about. I write so much stuff, I put out so much content that sometimes I forget the shit that I did myself. Work 130, which is a 130 workout program booklet covering all areas of the game on the court and off the court. And Work 52, which is a combination, it's a hybrid program where we combine the Ultimate Athlete and the Position of Power into one program. Both of those programs, Work 130, Work 52, I'm going to be posting both of those on both Amazon and iTunes today. So by the time you see this video, both of those programs should be up and available. It might take a little bit longer because sometimes the longer the program, the longer it takes both of those businesses to actually approve and put it up for public consumption. But I'm putting those both up. So just look for those, Work 130, Work 52. Those are both one word. So the word work and then the number 130 and then work and the number is 52. Both of those will be available on both Amazon and iTunes probably by the time you see this, but if not, just check back later today or tomorrow morning. They will be up there. Again, this is a limited time thing. We don't know how long we're going to do it, so please take advantage. That's going to make a total of 100 books available on both Amazon and iTunes. I feel accomplished for doing that. But I ain't want to put out 100 pieces of bullshit, 100 pieces of quality for all y'all out there. Same thing I like to do with my videos. So let me know how you feel about that. You can email me, Dre@DreAllDay, or just use the contact form through my website, DreAllDay.com. Or you can also leave comments here on this video, which is Q&A number 34. Now we're almost 5 minutes into the video. I ain't answered no questions yet. So for those of you who don't know how this works, as I said before, I look at the comments from the previous week's video, which is Q&A 33. I have not looked at these yet. I'm responding to them in real time right here as I'm reading through them. I'm going to respond to them as I see fit. Leave your questions, leave your comments. Make sure you leave me good questions so you can get me talking. The more I talk, the better the questions are. If I'm answering your question like this, not to say it's not a good question, but the best questions are the ones that get me talking. That's why I got this jug of water here to keep my palate wet so I can keep answering these questions. So let's get right into it without further ado. The first question comes from Mike Pucci. He says, Dre, do you know who Jojo Ballestero is? Look him up. He's a pro shot student. No, I don't know who he is, but Mike, you can give me some more information to give me a reason to look him up. But based on that, that's not enough information for me to look that guy up. Connor C says, Dre, my shot was off for a while, so I asked my coach if something was wrong. He said I was making a fist in my hand on my follow through. I stopped and my shot was back. Is it mental or a real problem? Well, Connor, I guess it's not a problem at all if you did what he told you to do and then your shot started going in. I don't see a problem with that. The Habby 007 says, Dre, I'm 6'2", I'm a top guard in Germany, but not the person who has a sure pro contract before my 18th birthday, which I understand because in Europe, when players are very good, they usually get into the pros when they're very young, unlike in America where a lot of us go through the NCAA college system when we get into the pros after the age of 21. But I understand, the Hobby says, I'm now just explaining for the Americans who might not know why he said that. He says, I'm 16, I work every day, I'm very serious with training, but the problem is, in the off season, I got some days where I can't play like I always do. I don't know what the reason could be. Can anyone help me, please? But Habby, you got to give us a little bit more information than I don't play like always and I don't know what the reason could be. That could be anything. There's a million possibilities based on that small amount of information. You had to give a little bit more detail. But for you and for anyone else who has questions that go into a little bit more detail or require more detail for me to be able to give you a useful answer like this one, I suggest you email me personally, dre@dreallday.com, and go into much more detail with your situation so I can answer you one-on-one. I don't want to have to read long, detailed questions on the Q&A because I like to make this a little bit more rapid fire so everyone can hear all the questions and answers, because there are probably questions that someone asked that 10 other people want the answer to too. They might not have thought of the question, maybe they just didn't post the question. But if it's very detailed and personal, hit me up personally, Dre@DreAllDay, and I will get back to you. Don't get impatient if I don't write you back that day or even that week. I will get back to you. If you email me, I will email you back. Next question. Omar Solano says, thanks for answer and sorry for confusing you with my question. Well, Omar, you're welcome. Glad I was able to figure it out. Benjamin Wu says, Chris Move plays 2K. Okay, well, I don't play 2K, so which is why I have no idea who Chris Move is, nor do I care. Jay Hicks says, Dre, have you ever been on a team where they did stuff like pull people's pants down, or basically playing around horseplay? Not really, Jay. I've seen it, but not really. Tim Prodzik says, what are some moves that will work in the game when I'm dribbling into the hoop? Tim, that's not a very good question. You're talking to a guy who's posted over 4,000 videos on YouTube, and at least 1,000 of them are driving to the hoop. So Tim, click on my name right below this video there, and I'll take you to my channel, and you'll see playlists, you'll see videos. Wherever you want to start is all covered. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you can click on those links or the links down in the video description to get some programs that will actually take you step by step through how you can develop those skills if you prefer more structure than just watching videos. Next question. NBA Everything 1 says, what's the best way to gain healthy weight? The best way to gain healthy weight is via muscle. So you can gain weight through muscle, which means you need to eat more food than you're burning, taking more calories than you burn, and lift weights so you actually add muscle instead of just adding fat. And you can do that. You can actually take a look at the programs I mentioned earlier. Ultimate Athlete, which is a complete athletic-based program specifically for basketball players. Position of Power, which is a strength training program for those of you who have access to a gym or weights for basketball players. And then Work 52, which is a combination of both. You will need some equipment for Work 52. If you have no equipment, no facilities, no gym, Ultimate Athlete's your program. If you do have access to that stuff, you can still do Ultimate Athlete, but then you also have the possibilities with Position of Power and Work 52. Next question. Cameron Mendoza says, does it help your handle if you dribble a lot inside your house? I don't know what dribbling inside the house had to do with it, but it will help you handle if you work on your ball handling a lot via the drills I posted, via the ball handling hoop handbook, or any of the other programs we got out there. The Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul, those are two programs that focus a lot on handle in addition to the actual skills with making baskets. Next question. Quinn Murdoch says, what do your tattoos say or represent? I've gone over this before, so very quickly this says superstar. These say energy, persistence, preparation, boldness. This here means ambition. Those are all the tattoos I have.
Hey, witness on the beat.
Bilbus Bagged Off says, I train a lot on ball handling and in my jump shot, but in games I don't do much. Do I need to be more confident, and how? Bilbus, probably. I mean, I don't know very many people who couldn't use some extra confidence in their life. You can actually look up my video on confidence. You go to my website and click on the skills link. At the top navigation, you'll see skills. Click on skills, and then you'll see mental game, motivational. You can check out those videos there. And then also click on the guides and tips page where I talk about this exact issue with players who play very well in practice but don't play as well in the games. Their practice skills don't translate to games. I've written a couple posts about that on my website, dreallday.com, so check those out. Ricky Lowe says, Dre, when you play defense, do you force the offensive player to one side or do you play them straight up? I'm a fan from Thailand. Well, Ricky, I'm glad to hear you're from Thailand. Do I force the offensive player to one side? Do I play them straight up? It's situational. There's not one way that I play every player that I play against. It depends on the situation. Maybe I got help defense. If I got a great shot blocker over here to my right, I might force everybody to the right so they got to go to the shot blocker. If I'm playing somebody who I know I can stay in front of and there's really no advantage to sending them either way, I might play them straight up. So it's all situational. There is no one way that I play every offensive player. Everything is based on the situation on the floor. Rivaldo Nonea says, Dre, do you have a job outside of YouTube? So what is it? Absolutely. My job is taking care of my business. Ziggy 1000 says, my body is pretty big except my arms. I lifted weights a lot in the summer. They're still skinny. How do I get them bigger and stronger? Ziggy, you probably need a program that's put together by somebody who knows what they're doing in terms of strength training and gains as far as adding mass to your arms, and you probably are not that expert. Neither am I. But I know someone who is. My trainer, her name is Maria. She's the one who wrote the Position of Power program. I suggest you check that out on Amazon or iTunes for $2.99. Jeremy Hawkins says, would you ever move to LA to expand your brand? Do you feel like Miami is a good city to live in to find a career in sports? Would I ever move to LA to expand my brand? I mean, there's nothing I would say I would never do. If I was to ever move out of Miami, only other place would be LA because of the weather. Like Biggie said, the weather, the women, and the weed. I don't smoke, but that's what he said in the song. To expand my brand, maybe if there was a right opportunity, but I'm not. It's not like I'm contemplating it right now. And he said, do you feel like Miami is a good city to live in to find a career in sports? I don't know. I'm not the person to ask because I didn't find a career in sports. I created one. It didn't have anything to do with where I was living. I could have been living in North Dakota and created this brand the exact same way. But being in Miami is what makes me happy. That's why I'm here. Kenneth Stone says, how has your game evolved as you've grown older? Most of us who are older, usually not as athletic, but much smarter with how they play. What is your experience? Are you dunking as much as you did in the past? This is a pretty good question, Kenneth. How has my game evolved as I've grown older? One thing he talks about is not using athleticism as much. I feel like I have done that when I was much younger, let's say college age. I would play off athleticism a lot. I didn't pay much attention to it. I was a good ball handler, but not great. And my shot was streaky because I didn't practice it that much. Because I was all athleticism. I could out-athletic most of the players I played against. Now, I started to focus on my shot more. I think there was a time when my knee was bothering me, so I wasn't playing as athletically. So I started working on my shot. This is like maybe 6-7 years ago that happened. So once I started working on my shot, it became a weapon. So even when the athleticism came back, my knees weren't bothering me anymore. I still had the shot. So the shot became a weapon. And the shot is just easier on the body. If you can hit shots from the outside, it takes less energy, less wear and tear on you to get points. But of course, I still like to get to the basket because your shot's not always going to fall. You can have a good game going to the basket more often than you'll have a good game shooting. And he says, am I dunking as much as I did in the past? No, I don't dunk as much as I did in the past. That's a good question. And I don't. Not that I can't, it's just that I don't. It conserves my body, conserves my energy to not do it. But if I need to dunk to get 2 points and that's the only way to get it, then I'll probably do it. But if you think I can't, hey, you can jump with me and let's see what happens when we get up at the rim. Next question. Connor says, I've been practicing every day for the last day. That don't make sense, Connor. But anyway, he said, I skipped the day. I couldn't hit any shots for my first hour. Why does one day off mess me up so much? Connor, I can't really explain that. And it's funny that you asked the question that way because I was listening to some Tony Robbins the other day. For those of you who don't know who Tony Robbins is, you probably do. But anyway, he's like a motivational speaker. He's like a life coach, rather. That's the better description of him. He says, when people talk the way that you did, Connor, the way you phrase that question, why does one day off mess me up so much? You know what your brain's going to do when you feed it that question? is going to start giving you reasons why one day off messes you up so much. So all you're doing is reinforcing that thought that one day off is going to mess up my game and I'm not going to be good. You'd rather say something like, what can I do to not have one day mess me up? Or what can I do so I can be a more consistent player? You know what your brain's going to do is going to react to what you give it. When you give your brain negativity, all it's going to do is give you reasons to reinforce the negativity. When you give your brain positives, it's going to give you reasons to reinforce the positives. So instead of saying, why does one day off mess me up so much, which all it's going to do is make you mess up more every single time you work out, ask yourself a more positive question. Like, what about this situation is good? Why did I take the day off? No, that's not a good way to say it. What can I do to be more productive after I take a day off? Or what can I do on days when I take a day off that will improve my game mentally and physically? These are the type of questions. Just work on formulating better questions to ask yourself. Now, that's all thinking is asking yourself questions. If you think about the way you think, all you're doing is asking and answering your own questions. When you ask yourself bad questions, you're going to get bad answers. It's going to reinforce the negativity, and you'll just keep going down that downward spiral. And again, I got all this from listening to Tony. So, next question. Caden Green says, Dre, first of all, let me say good job on your videos. When I found out you did the vid with Shakedown 2012, you've been a great help ever since. I'm glad you found me through Shakedown. Shout out to Shakedown 2012. He says, I have two questions. I'm 6'3", 275 pounds, and I stopped playing college football. It's been a few months since I worked out steadily, and he wants to know if I recommend he drops his weight before trying to do Ultimate Athlete, and if so, what weight? Well, first of all, to address that question, would I recommend you drop your weight? It's hard for me to say because it depends on why you want to drop the weight and why you want to do the program. It's not just, oh, you should drop weight just because. That makes no sense at all. There has to be a reason why you're doing it. So you need to figure out, first of all, what's your reason for actually doing it, and then decide if it's something you need to do. Do you need to drop weight to do Ultimate Athlete? Absolutely not. You can do it as you are. But of course, you should always consult. We got to say, you should always consult a physician or body care professional or doctor, rather, before you start any exercise training programs. We are not liable for any injuries, problems, or death associated with using our programs. We got to say that. But anyway, to answer your question on a serious note, it says, secondly, I want to take basketball to the next level. I know I'm too small to play center, so I was wondering which program you recommend for me to get my passing and shooting better so I can become a more viable option when I play. If you want to become better at passing and shooting, I suggest, first of all, the Passing Hoop Handbook, which is all focused on passing. It's a mini program. As far as shooting, there's a lot of programs there. We got Ray Allen is a good one. If you're talking about shooting off the catch, Ray Allen, Joe Johnson's a good, Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving's another, Allen Iverson, Tony Parker, Damian Lillard, Paul Pierce. These are all players who have a lot of shooting involved in their program. So, first question, why do you want to lose weight? Do you need to lose weight through Ultimate Athlete? Absolutely not. The second question, I just gave you a list of programs you should check out. There's also a program called Shooting, so you can check that one out too. Jalen Cole says, do you have a lot of shoes like Nike and Jordans, and do you get the new shoes that come out? I don't know what you would consider a lot. I don't think I have a lot compared to some people I know. Do I get new shoes that come out sometimes, but not always? I'm not a sneakerhead. I'm not a big fan when it comes to sneakers. I'm not obsessed with them. I like them, but I'm not obsessed with them. Ryan Villasenor says, what do I bench? Well, how much does the bar weigh? Gabriel Areola says, why don't you get a trainer, Dre? You're a beast, but even Jordan was coached, so he retired. Well, Gabriel, I've actually, within the answers I've posted so far, you've already known that I do have a trainer. Why you don't know that, I don't know, because she's in several of my videos. Her name's Maria. Next question. Ian Sexton says, what's your favorite TV show or channel? Sports Center, ESPN. I don't really watch TV hardly at all. I'll go entire days without watching TV. Mo Arif says, who are my top 5 favorite rappers? Let's see if I can answer this. 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, Tupac. We'll go with that. I didn't really think about that, but we'll go with that. Fabian Pacheco says, Dre, I love your channel. My question is, do you have any siblings? Thank you, Fabian. I have one sister. She's a year older than me. John Peters says, I have a question that isn't related to basketball. My mom died a couple days ago of cancer. I lost any motivation. Well, John, I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences. had a life in basketball. I lost any motivation I had in basketball. I was close to her. She was all I had. Is there anything you had to say to motivate me to brighten my life up through this time? You keep me going every day. You're the reason I still wake up through this hard time in my life. I see you as my hero right after my mom. Sorry for the sad topic. Love you, bro. Well, John, I'm honored to definitely honored to hear that. Sorry for your loss. As far as what can brighten you up right now, like I was saying in the earlier question that Connor asked, that an idea I got from listening to Tony Robbins is you need to feed yourself questions that will lead to positive answers. If you feed yourself questions that will lead to negativity, like if you say something like, I'm feeling terrible, I have no motivation. Why am I feeling terrible? Why do I have no motivation? Why don't I want to do anything in life? Why did I lose the person that was most important to me? All of those things are going to lead your brain to feed you back negativity. So you need to start asking yourself more positive questions. What's good about this? How can I use this situation to come back stronger? What is it that I'm going to gain from this situation personally as far as building up my self-efficacy or building up my dependence on myself or my self-reliance? Start asking yourself more positive questions. Only thing your brain can do with positive questions is feed you reinforcement, positive answers that will start to make you feel better about yourself. One thing I would suggest to you is that you check out my book called The Mental Handbook or The Mirror of Motivation. Those are two books that they are 100% focused on the mental side of not only sports but of life. And I'm not even saying that trying to plug my book, but I've known people who personally contacted me and told me that they read either one of those books during the time they were going through some mental or personal crisis, and to help build them up mentally, because that's the one thing I want to do anytime I post videos motivationally or write about stuff motivational or the mental side of things, is to help people build themselves up. I don't want you to be relying on me. I want you to take in the information I share so that you can learn and teach yourself to be reliant on yourself, so that you don't have to keep coming back to me. It gets to the point where you know exactly what to go to when you have any type of mental crisis or a personal situation, or you're not feeling the right way mentally, your brain's feeding you the wrong information. Then you learn how you can systematically force your brain to feed you the right information. So hopefully that helps you, John. Next question, and thank you for the question, John. Justin Down says, Dre, I'm 14, 170 pounds, 5 feet 11 inches tall. I use Chris Paul and Steve Nash hoop handbooks. I scored 25 points a game and 7 assists. So hopefully, Justin, I'm going to hope that the hoop handbook can take credit for those stats. But congratulations. He says, how do I get a consistent jump shot? Excuse me. He says that I say to practice, but Kobe practices a lot and he isn't a consistent shooter. I also use Pro Shot shooting system. I can shoot 60% in practice, but when I do your moves, my form gets messed up. Any tips? All right. Well, first of all, Justin, Kobe is actually one of the most efficient mid-range shooters in basketball. I don't know where you got the information that he isn't a consistent shooter. He actually has one of the highest efficiency numbers in the league when it comes to mid-range shooting if you check his stats from his last full season. Second of all, if you want a consistent jump shot, when I say practice, that's still right. A lot of people practice who aren't good shooters. That doesn't mean you shouldn't practice. I know people who study money all the time, but they ain't got no money. That don't mean you shouldn't study money or study how to take care of your money or manage your money, or you understand what I'm saying. Just because somebody did it and they didn't succeed doesn't mean that you should just completely throw that out the window. I could tell you people who have tried every single thing you've ever done in your life, all the things that made you good, they've done the same things and not become good. So that doesn't mean you wouldn't do it. You still did it anyway, right? So he said when he does my moves, his form gets messed up. Well, Justin, you probably just need to practice more. I mean, you average 25 points a game and 7 assists according to what you wrote here. So you got to that level by practicing a lot, right? There's no other way you could have did it. So the same way that you did that, you could do the next challenge. Manny the First says, Dre, I'm 6'2", I just turned 16, I want to be 6'5". Do you know if it'll be that height? If I'll be that height, and do I have any tips to grow taller? No and no. I have no idea how tall you're going to be, Manny, and any tips to grow taller? Listen, if there was a way for people to grow taller, we'd all be 8 feet tall. I know I would be if there was a way. But there is no way. You got to work with the hand you're dealt. Whatever height you are, work with that. Tough Tanny says, what kind of phone and car do you have? Well, phone, I have an iPhone, and car, the same car that Fred Flintstone drives in the Flintstones. I don't even know if y'all watch the Flintstones. Otieno Mireji says, Dre, I can't shoot some shots in the paint. How can I shoot better and handle the ball better? I'm trying to go from center to point guard. I'm 6'2 and a half and I weigh 225 pounds. OTNO, I suggest you check out some hoop handbooks. There's a lot of different ways I can answer that question. I suggest you check out some signature workout programs of the players whose games you're trying to adapt. If you take a look at a Kyrie, a Chris Paul, Stephen Curry, Damian Lillard, Tony Parker, Gilbert Arenas, Stephon Marbury, Steve Francis, all those guys are point guards. I don't know exactly how you play, but you can take a look at a bunch of them. You can mix and match several of them, get a bunch of them, do one at a time, see how your game develops. I guarantee you'll get results. E-Rock 5452 says, if you ever do a camp in Cali, I want to buy a ticket and go across the country. If I ever do a camp in Cali, I mean, anything's possible. There's not one that's imminent right now, but if you do check out dreallday.com/clinics, I might put an annotation for that up here also. I am holding clinics right now. The next one will be on September 7th. That's a Sunday at 7:30 a.m. in Miami Beach. So it's not California, but it's a start. Next question. Blur C said, I've gotten a lot better at and been practicing every day. Thanks. I also walked by the school on my way to court, saw the coach. She looked over her shoulder and opened the gym door and walked inside. Later that day on Instagram, there's a video uploaded of two kids on their way. They were both on the team also. I have no idea what that comment was about. Blur C, there was no question whatsoever, so we got to move on to the next one. Cliff Stevens says, in weekly motivation a while back, Dre, you said that if you're not motivated about playing ball, then playing ball is not what you should be doing. You said to find something you're passionate about. I absolutely did say that. He said, how do you think you find that one thing that you're passionate about the way that I am with basketball? The way you find that thing, well, there's a lot of different ways you can find that thing, Cliff, but I'm going to suggest that you check out a book by my favorite author. His name is Robert Greene. He's the author of the 48 Laws of Power, which is my favorite book. His latest book is called Mastery, and that book is 100% about finding your life's calling and what to do once you find it, how to follow the steps to actually get to being able to do it in your life and fulfill yourself, because that's all we want. Any of us wants fulfillment. We do things that make us feel good. So I suggest you read that book, Mastery by Robert Greene. CT1 says, and he asked an irrelevant question. King's Lion Ravencross says, Dre, you're 34. No, I'm actually not 34. I'm 32. And he said, we don't need any more famous people in the world named Baldwin. I've never heard that one before. Rakib Rezak says, Dre, thanks for the hoop handbook programs. He got ball handling and weak hand dribbling, and he'll start on them immediately. Rakib, glad to hear that. You're getting good results from those. Make sure you check out some of those 30-day programs while they're still available at the cost that they are. Omar had posted a second question. Omar and everybody else, we can do one question at a time. There's a lot of questions I'm trying to get through here, so I'm not going to address the second one question each. Flashy Squirrel says, Dre, I love your videos. Because of your work on YouTube, I've gotten really better. Well, Flashy, I'm glad to hear that. I play basketball every day. I'm also a YouTuber. I make comedy videos, so if you need a laugh, check me out, okay? He said, I find trouble getting my shot off over taller defenders. What moves would you recommend to get better and help me with the issue? Well, Flashy, there are 1,000 different moves you can do to get your shot off over a taller defender. That's a very, very vague question, but I have a very, very heavy amount of videos that can address that already posted on this YouTube channel. As I said, I have over 4,000. If you're looking for something more structured instead of just looking at random individual videos, I suggest you check out some of those hoop handbook programs that I have mentioned 5 times already in this video, in the video description below, or the annotations above. UG Rection. Ah, nice. He said, if you were offered a contract by the Spurs right now, if you could have a dog, how big would his fish tank be? P.S. Love your vids, brother. I have no idea what that question means, but nice name and thank you for loving my videos. Jake C says, what are my favorite non-NBA pro sports teams? I don't have any. I don't have any favorite teams in the NBA or out of the NBA. AS Magnuson 97 says, what's the most embarrassing thing you've done in the game before? probably my junior year tryouts of high school when I just got scored on a bunch of times in a row by another guy and didn't make the team. I wrote about that in detail in my first book, which is called Buy a Game. You get that for free actually at dreallday.com/buyagame. BUYAGAME. GM Canless says, were you taught on how to do all the moves you do now? Was it all just self-taught by watching NBA players? Well, it was actually neither. Nobody taught me, because if anybody had taught me, they would have posted 4,000 vids before I did. I taught myself. Was it self-taught by watching NBA players? It wasn't taught by watching NBA players. I mean, I adapt skills of anybody. I could watch somebody play and take something I see them do and add it to my game. But all of it comes just from being creative, taking all the fundamental skills, which I started with, and then combining those skills together until I had finished products, and I still do that to this day. Marcus James says, what's the importance of doing drills like wrapping the ball around your head in the beginning of ball handling workouts? Well, the importance of it, I've never said that it was important. The importance of a drill is all up to the person who's doing the drill. Not everybody has to do the same stuff, but we can all become good players. So if you don't find it important, then it's not important, don't do it. The importance of doing any type of ball handling drill is to get your hands used to handling the ball. That's why it's called ball handling. So the more you do, the more you handle the ball, the better you'll get at handling the ball. That's all there is to it. Justin Francois Paul says, Dre, what's your take on the ongoing violence in Philadelphia? Do you like listening to Cassidy, and which Philly rappers do you like? Have ever been to Camden, New Jersey? Please answer these good questions. So he already considers his questions good. Nice. That's a nice way to do it, Justin. First of all, I don't know what the ongoing violence in Philadelphia is. I'm not privy to that. Do I like listening to Cassidy? I mean, I've heard some Cassidy. I haven't heard anything new from him in a while. Which Philly rappers do I like? Beanie Siegel's a guy from Philly I like. The whole Major Figures, when they were out, I like them. Ab Lava, who's with the Re-Up Gang, I like him. Even Will Smith got some catchy songs. I mean, he ain't really the type of rapper you might be thinking about, but he's catchy. Have I ever been to Camden, New Jersey? Of course, it's right across the river from Philly. Kaneen Prescott says, this isn't really a question. I'd like to thank you for making all the videos, because if anyone really watched all of them, there'll be no need for Q&As. That's actually true, Kaneen, so thank you. And he says, because you have answered pretty much any question that we need to ask, so thanks. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Kaneen, that you see that. But of course, not everybody can watch 4,000 videos. If this channel wasn't mine, I wouldn't watch 4,000 videos either. So I understand people still having questions, even though I address pretty much everything. But that's why we do this Q&A. Jamil Fletcher says, question, my brother and I are twins, but we have two different skill sets. I shoot threes and I drive to the basket. He's a good mid-range shooter. What I want to know is if my brother's a good mid-range shooter, is going any deeper straining his shot, or should he just stay a mid-range shooter? Well, any player can improve. He can always add skills to his game, same way you can add skills to your game. I don't think any player should just stay where they are, because once you stop improving, you start getting worse. Darius Corinne Sinek says, I live in Canada. I want to get noticed so I can play college basketball. What do you think the best way to get recognized would be? The best way to get recognized, Darius, is to be a good player and then show it when it's time to show it. Billy Darris says, do you have a special or signature move? If so, what is it? Keep up the great videos. Billy, I don't really have a special or signature move. I basically play the game based on the situation. Whatever the situation on the floor is, I use what's best for that situation. I don't have any one move that I'm guaranteed to go do no matter what the situation. It's always based on the situation. 9,000 the Beast says, what kind of foods do you eat if you want to gain weight? Nothing specific, because you got a bunch of different people. You have people who are vegetarian, vegan, people who eat paleo, people who eat quote-unquote clean, people who eat organic, people who eat whatever they want, or some combination of all. If you want to gain weight, you need to eat, bring in more calories than you're burning, and you need to lift weight so you add muscle and not fat. Storm Spinner 9000 says, is a partner needed to help with the workouts and the Hoop Handbook signature programs? Not at all. These are all things you do by yourself individually. Francisco Veneza says, how can I gain weight for basketball? Just address that question. Check out the Position of Power program, Amazon or iTunes, via annotations or the link descriptions below. Chris DiMaranta says, how should you guard someone that's shorter than you, can shoot, drive, has good handles, and super quick? Well, Chris, first thing you need to do is develop your game. so that player is worrying about what you can do instead of you worrying about what they can do. The number one problem you got right now with guarding that guy is you're worrying about all the skills he has. You just described his whole game in detail because you're worried about him. If you improve your game, you'll be worried about them. I don't approach a game of basketball, I don't care who I'm playing against, worried about what they can do. I want them to worry about what I can do. And if that's not the case, then I need to work on my game some more. David Rubio says, my knees pop a lot. Will icing them reduce that? Well, David, you probably should grab some ice and find out. I can't tell you that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified to answer that question. Dewan Adams says, Dre, I'm starting sophomore in high school. I'm 5 feet 5 inches tall. For the year, I'm going to be practicing basketball for my junior year to make the team. I want to get stronger and faster with the Ultimate Athlete program. Do that, and can I do all the program at home? Yes and yes. Last question. My dribbling isn't good at all. What program should I do to improve on my dribbling? You should get the ball handling hoop handbook. Lots. Oh, Sheep says, do you know the Muffin Man? I have no idea what that means. Ball is May life. I said it. Says, Dre, you are the best, and I am #1 fan. I want to be like you one day. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being a #1 fan, and if you keep putting in work, you could probably be better than me. Just the Gamer 2323 says, can I do a Trey Burke or Jeremy Lin signature workout? P.S. Keep up the good work. Just the Gamer 2323. Trey Burke, I gotta watch him a little bit more. He only played 1 year in the league so far, but Jeremy Lin is out. There is a Jeremy Lin signature program. You didn't know about it? See, this is what happens when you post so much content that people don't even know about the stuff you did. Jeremy Lin exists. Amazon or iTunes up here, down here. Jeremy Lin has been out since like February of 2014. Cole Boucher says, when am I going to make a Penny Hardaway signature workout? Y'all think I planted these questions, right? Penny Hardaway is already out. Penny Hardaway has come out. Penny Hardaway's out. Amazon or iTunes, up here or down here. Bobby Cameron says, what got you to start making the signature workouts? And how do you know all the moves of those players? What got me to make the signature workouts? This idea brainstorming. I just came up with the idea to do it. And how do I know the moves of these players? I watch videos of these players. I've seen these players play on TV. I watch them. I watch YouTube videos of them. I look at scouting reports of them when I can find them. And I just break down their games. Casey Murphy says, Dre, what's up? What's up, Casey? Says, I want to say thanks for all the great vids you put out. Well, thank you, Casey. I got a lot of respect for you. Just wondering, in your opinion, where do your abilities as far as basketball come from? Would you say it's natural born talent, or is it more skill you applied over years of working on your game? Thanks. Casey, is definitely the latter. It's all skill I developed by working on my game. I have very little natural born talent for basketball. Most of you watching this video have more basketball talent, natural talent, than I have ever had. But I have more skill than a lot of you. Probably 99% of y'all, because I put in a lot of work. So it is all skill. It's not much talent at all. SLXD03. Have you ever worked out with Big Brandon Carter? P.S. Keep up the hard work. It's very motivational. I have never worked out with Big Brandon Carter. I did a video with Big Brandon Carter, a Q&A last summer, which you can see. It is on my YouTube channel right now. It's actually 2 parts. You can check that out. Last time I was in New York, I was only there for a day, so I couldn't even run into my dude. But next time I'm in New York, it is one of my priorities to try to meet up with Big Brandon Carter, say what's up to him, build with him, talk to him, politic a little bit. He's a good dude. So any of y'all looking to get information on muscle mass, strength gains, he's the guy to do it. Now, if you want something that's basketball specific, functional for your sport, then I'm the guy. Ultimate Athlete, Position of Power, Amazon and iTunes, up here or down there. Andre Loboda, he says, would you say a coach will like a player who hustles for the ball, even if it means diving on the floor, better than a player who shows hardly no flaws in the game? I don't know, Andre. You had to ask that coach. I mean, why not be a player who does both? I mean, you can work on your game to be very skilled, and you can hustle at the same time. Why does it have to be one or the other? The real Derrick Rose says, how do I stop being conscious of other people when training in front of them? That's just a matter of focus. Once you get into a state of flow, you're in that zone and really focus on what you're doing, it won't matter who else is around. That could be a game or practice. And when it comes to not being conscious of them, again, it's just focus. If you're conscious of the people on the sideline, it's probably because you're not paying much attention to what you're doing on the court. And once you get into that sharp level of focus, it won't matter who walks by, what somebody else is doing, somebody's on the sideline jumping up and down, it won't matter. when you completely focus on the task. But even if you do notice them, you can still do your job. They're not stopping you from doing your job. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. Michael S. says, Dre, you're supposed to do the whole chunk of exercises before you repeat 3 times for position of power back to back before resting. Do you rest after each exercise? Well, when it says repeat 3 times, that means that whole section gets done. You do the whole section, then you do a whole section, then you do the whole section. That's repeat 3 times. You need to do it without resting. If you need a rest, you rest. Listen to your body. That's the most important thing, especially when you're doing off-the-court training. Your body is telling you it needs a rest. Give it a rest. You don't want to push yourself too far, especially with off-the-court training, because you can really injure yourself. Daryl Carter says, do I enjoy the Grantland podcast with Jalen Rose? Absolutely. Jalen and Jacoby, I love that podcast. Kalichi Achu says, Dre, this is the year I want to do weight training in order to build my strength for guarding at the post and basketball, but classes in my high school were filled. Should I get a gym membership or do stuff like push-ups at home? Well, I can't really advise whether you get a gym membership or not, because I don't know how available you will be to actually get to the gym, your transportation, if you can afford it financially. But if you are looking for a program to build up your strength, I suggest get the Ultimate Athlete. You can do that at home. It costs $299, which is cheaper than a gym membership, and you don't need equipment. If you do go to the gym and you have equipment, you should get the position of power so you actually have a program so you know what you're doing when you get in the gym. You don't want to be in there grabbing weights and not knowing what you're doing. Mastro says, Dre, I got a Q&A's back. I asked if you could do a Dre Baldwin signature workout, and I said it was a good idea. He thinks I should make one because he thinks people will use it because he watched so many of your moves. And his question is, well, first of all, Mastro, the Dre Baldwin signature workout program is coming, but it's going to take a while because this one is going to be more expansive than any one I've ever made. It'll probably be twice as long as any of the other signature workout programs because I'm going off myself and not off another person. But don't hold your breath for that. Let's aim for around Christmas, maybe I'll get that out. He says, my question is, have you ever been a referee? Would you be one at a high level? Absolutely not. I'm not interested in being a referee in any way, shape, or form. But thank you, Master, for the question. Mitre Tukovic says, I want to thank you for the opportunity to get a signature workout program for $3 Well, I'm glad to hear that, Dimitri. I know Dimitri is a consistent fan. I hear from him often. I recognize the name. He says, I'm going to buy like 10 more. It's amazing. And he says, hitting the hardwood first thing tomorrow. I'm going to be a better version of myself in 30 days. Thank you, Dimitri. I'm glad you like the programs. Any of y'all use the programs on Amazon or iTunes, leave a review. Leave a review that tells what you think about the program, 5-star review or whatever the highest level is. I think it's 5 stars for either. Leave reviews because then other people will know that they're good programs and they want to hear from players who've actually used them that the programs are worth it, not just from me because I made the program. So of course I'm going to say they're great, but they want to hear from y'all. So leave reviews. Ryan Comito says, is the Work 52 program the same as the Ultimate Athlete? Well, Ryan, I've actually already addressed this, but I'll answer it. It is not. It's the Ultimate Athlete and Position of Power hybrid mixed into one and extended to be a full year program. That's why it's called Work 52 because it's 52 weeks. Mike Pucci says, Dre, do you think I'm good at dribbling for a 13-year-old? Tells me the name of his video and says if I can check it out, it'd be cool. Love your vids. Well, thank you, Mike. Not sure I'm going to be able to watch a video. I actually will have a mechanism for everyone getting their videos reviewed by me coming up in the future. But as y'all can probably tell, I got a lot of different projects going on at the same time. So I will get to that. Not sure I'm going to watch a vid, Mike, but thank you for the question. Saraku15 says, when I played for the Harlem Ambassadors, did I have the time and opportunity to work on my game, or was I busy all day besides late at night when guys would go bar hopping and clubbing? I guess he's referring to what I wrote about on my website about the Harlem Ambassadors on my website, DreAllDay.com. He says, was there ever a point in your career where you were pressed for time and couldn't work on your game? It's not an excuse for me to not work on my game. Just curious. Well, Siraki, when I played for the Harlem Ambassadors, I didn't really have that much time to practice because it's not like we had a gym we could go to all the time. We were on the road all the time. There's a lot of traveling, so we didn't actually have a lot of gym time aside from the actual games we were playing in. Only once in a while, like maybe 2 times a month, we would go to a gym where it wasn't a game and we would just play basketball. And then it was just games, like half court, 3-on-3, 5-on-5 pickup games. So we never had much time to actually just practice on our own. Very, very little time. B Baller says, only a couple questions left here, y'all. B-Bar says, you give a few examples of conditioning you've done or others have done off-court that have a positive effect on their fitness in order to play basketball. A few examples. B-Baller, I got a whole playlist called Conditioning on my channel here on YouTube, so you can see more than a few examples. You can also get the Conditioning Hoop Handbook program on Amazon or iTunes above or in the video description below. Nigel Persall says, how do I guard a guy bigger than me? Well, there's a million different ways you can guard him. I need a lot more information than that, but it's not really about that because every situation is different. So if you guard a guy one way and it works, then they'll probably do something else the next time. So you can't just come running and asking what to do every single time somebody does something. What you need to do is playing more games, develop more experience and a stronger feel for the game so that you don't have to ask that question. So what you need to do is go get more experience. Go play basketball. You can't get all your answers off the internet. You have to go out there and learn by doing. iPad Man 2158 says, I'm about to start 9th grade and I'm yet to decide what major, like science or law, etc. He says, what is the best for a basketball career and what did I study? Thank you in advance. Well, first of all, iPad Man, when I went to 9th grade, we didn't have to pick a major. I thought that was what you did in college. So I have no idea about this situation that you have here. The best thing to study for a basketball career would be basketball. So I'm guessing basketball is not a major option for you. Understand, iPad Man, that you ain't gonna be able to play basketball your whole life. By the time you're 40, you'll probably be done with basketball. So think about what you might want to do after that, or what else you're interested in outside of basketball. Nobody plays basketball 24 hours a day. I don't care who you are, how good you are. Nobody plays basketball all day. What else are you interested in? Ask yourself that and then go with that path. C.A. Cardina says, Dre, thanks for answering my questions. Thanks for the videos. So you're welcome. Says, my question is, would it still be a summer is serious because Katie is now on Under Armour? I don't think that has anything to do with it whatsoever. KRPT says, what's your go-to move when you're at the club? I don't really be in the club much, so I don't have a go-to move. And last question, Carlos Aguilar says, I'm 5'8", I don't have much confidence when driving into the lane. Any tips on how to overcome it and boost my confidence level? First of all, Carlos, check out my video on confidence. Second of all, you need to work on your game and add some skill so that you do have confidence. Confidence comes from a belief in your ability to do something. If you haven't done it, then you won't have any belief in it. So you can fake your belief, and this is something that's going to be addressed very, very deep in a very, very detailed fashion in my next book, which is called The Super You, which is all about confidence. But as far as playing basketball goes, you get your confidence in basketball from the fact that you've actually done these things. How do you do things you've never done before? By practicing on your own, on the court. You develop the confidence by practicing more. So Carlos, you don't have confidence when you drive into the lanes because you haven't practiced driving into the lane enough. So you need to practice it so you actually have the skills to call on. Then you need to play in games, learn by doing. This includes failure. This includes getting your shot blocked. This includes getting the ball stolen from you. This includes getting scored on 10 times in a row or whatever it takes. This is part of the game. There are no perfect basketball players. There's no player who never had a bad game. So you are no exception. You need to go out there and play in addition to practicing so that you develop the feel, the instincts, the know-how, and the experience so that you do have the confidence. So that is it, everybody. For those of you who are still watching this video, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. It's the longest Q&A so far. It's one of those good problems to have when it's too many questions. I don't mind it at all. I'll answer all the questions as long as I can. I think I covered everything. Y'all see the annotations up there, video description, Amazon, iTunes, Hoop Handbook programs we got. I believe it's going to make 100 total programs once I put the Work 52 and Work 130 up there. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Thank you, everybody, for checking this out. And as always, work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com.
Hey, somebody sign that kid Dre Baldwin, man. I swear to God, man, he need to be on the team, man. That nigga be ballin', man. I be ballin' too, I swear. Man, I feel like Dre Ball, Dre